All right, everybody, this is a guided walkthrough for the Rudcov machine over at the BRCTF Machines Network over on the EchoCTF platform. So for each one of these exercises, we need to run a scan. We need to figure out what services are available for us to attack, and then we need to attack them and get, well, hopefully get the highest level of access. So we have a IP address over here. We're just going to copy that. The first thing we typically do on these CTF exercises is we do a nmap scan. So we run nmap. That's going to let us know which ports and services are available on a particular target, and we'll run it with these flags over here. So we're going to run it on every port. We're going to run common scripts and versioning information for whatever services we find. We're going to run it fast but not too fast. We're going to run it very verbose. And the last thing we need to do is we need to supply an IP address. So this is our IP address here. We run the scan. And what did we find? So we found port 80 on this particular IP address, which means there's an unencrypted web page that we can check out. And just for the sake of brevity, we're just going to investigate it immediately. So we're just going to copy the IP address. We're going to go over to our web browser, and we're just going to see what the website looks like. Okay, so what's going on here? So we've got a particular software that's running on this particular web app. It's called Rudcov Detel. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Is this a Dutch word or something? I'm not too sure. But the other thing that we can do on any of these web applications is we can immediately try for default credentials. So default credentials are, well, they're exactly what they sound like. To figure out what the default credentials might be for this software, we can always look it up on Google. So we can Google the name of the software and default credentials. And we might be able to get a set of default credentials. So let's see. Based on the documentations and common API examples, the default login credentials for the new station are username admin, password admin. So admin is, it's a pretty it's a pretty obvious choice for default credentials. We can try logging in over here with admin and then click on login. Okay. So we're in the application now with our admin credentials that are default. Okay, so what is actually going on in this application? So for this exercise, the Rudcov exercise, what we want to do to get our initial access is to use the web app's custom PHP function. So in this challenge, we discover a custom function in the web app that runs PHP code. So I mean, this is the type of function that's very convenient for people who are running the application, but it's also very dangerous as far as security is concerned, because anybody who's got access to this application and the function within the application is able to run the PHP code. So we can use this function to run PHP code and gain direct access to the web server. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So essentially, what they want you to do in this exercise is to walk through the application. So inside of the application here, there's a bunch of different things we can look at. We can look at reports, we can look at our users, we can look at all sorts of sections of the application. But what we really want to pay attention to is we want to eventually discover inside of the configuration menu here, there's a function called custom PHP. So inside of this custom PHP window, we can create our custom PHP code and we can run it within the application. And we can basically get it to run any PHP code we want. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get direct access to the web server through the PHP code. The PHP code, this would be considered remote code execution. So to set this up, what we're going to do is we're going to go and create a listener that could potentially catch a reverse shell. We're going to try to get reverse shell access. Let's see, where is our... Oh, let me rename this over here. We'll call this our remote access tab. So in order to catch our reverse shell, we need to set up a listener to catch the shell. We're just going to run netcat to set up the listener on port 443, and we're going to run it with the rlwrap utility program. So the rlwrap utility program is going to give us additional functionality with our netcat shell, which is usually not very, very useful, first of all. Anyways, so we've got the listener running on port 443, and the next thing we need to do is we need to get some PHP code that we can run on the web server that's going to give us our reverse shell access. So typically what we can do is we can look for some code on this website over here. It's called revshells.com. So we can go ahead and locate our PHP code, PHP Pentest Monkey or PHP Ivan Sinchek. I'm not too sure, but we've got some PHP code we can use here. So I'm just going to copy all the code here up until the closing brackets. So we're not including the actual brackets because the code editor in the application already assumes that it's running PHP code, so we don't need the brackets. Okay, so we can go back to the application over here, and we're just going to give a name to our custom PHP code. We're going to call this reverse the administrator note. We're going to say, don't let us run this. Okay, and actually, you know what we can do? We can do HackerFrogs, like and subscribe. A little bit of self-promotion in there. And then we can paste in our PHP code. So in the PHP code, there's a couple of things we need to change in order to run this. We need to make sure that the port number and the IP address is correct. So we can get our IP address for this particular network by going over here. Type in IPA, and when you run this command, it's going to let you know what your IP address is for different networking interfaces. So the networking interface that we're using is the TUN0 interface here, and this is our IP address for that particular interface. So we need to make sure that the victim web server is contacting our attacker machine, which is at this IP address. Okay, so in here, we're just going to make sure that the IP address is correct. I'm just going to paste it in. And then we're going to run the code. Okay, so we run the script. And when we run the script, we see that it's in the process of running the script. If we go back to our reverse shell listener, okay, so we receive the connection. Who am I? We're the www data user. Typically what we want to do first is we want to stabilize our shell a little bit further by figuring out which programs are installed that would give us the ability to do that. So for example, we got Python 3, we can run Python 3 and run this command import pty.spawn bin bash. And now we've got a slightly more stable shell. Okay, so let's call in Mr. Scary Hacker Voice Man to talk about how we broke into the application. So let me call him up.
Hey everybody, it's me, Scary Hacker Voice Man. Scary Hacker Voice Man comes out every time we break into an application or break into a server, and we just broke into this one. Well, Mr. Rudcov Administrator, it seems like you enjoy deploying applications that run custom PHP code. That is a big mistake. We managed to take advantage of your default credentials, which is also a big mistake, and then we were able to run whatever PHP code we wanted. We took advantage of this function in order to give ourselves some reverse shell access. Maybe you knew about these flaws inside of your application, or maybe you decided to accept the risk. Well, you accepted the risk. And now we're in.
Okay, so we've just broken into the machine. So once we have our low privilege user on the box, so if we ask who am I, we're the www data user. So this user is typically the user that runs the web server. So they're running the Apache software, they're running the Nginx software, and they're only able to do things inside of the application. So this is a low-level user, but what we want to do is we want to do something called privilege escalation. And privilege escalation is going to take our access from our low-level user to the highest level user, which is usually the root user on these Linux servers. So one very common thing that we do when we look for privilege escalation is we see whether or not our user has the ability to run any sudo commands that are run as that are run in the context of the highest level user. Okay, and then we'll run the sudo l command. So the sudo l command lets us know that we've got access as root with this particular binary. So the binary the sudo permissions let us run as any user, as any group with no password, user bin ltrace. So ltrace is it's a pretty common, what is the word? It's a pretty common reverse engineering utility or forensics utility that you can run on your Linux system. So ltrace is going to let you know which library calls are being made by a particular binary in the course of its execution. I've got a little slide over here. So for our privilege escalation, we're doing sudo ltrace. So in this challenge, our unprivileged user has sudo access with the ltrace command. The ltrace command is used to trace system library calls associated with other programs. So you run ltrace with another program, and it'll let you know what libraries are being used with it. So, but for hacking purposes, ltrace is a program that can be used to open a terminal shell. And if it's being used in a privileged context, it can be used for privilege escalation. So the method of privilege escalation for the ltrace command is well known and simply involves running the command with any shell command. So, I mean, if we're just pretending, we could say we want to get the library calls for the bin sh command or the bin bash command. And if you want to figure out if we can use any Linux binary to do privilege escalation, there's a very handy website called GTFOBins that can be used to do that. So this is very commonly used in CTF exercises with Linux servers. So all we need to do to get our privilege escalation and to become the root user is to run sudo ltrace with the bin bash command. So we'll also run it without giving any output. So we're just when we run the ltrace command with these arguments here, we're basically saying that we want to run ltrace, but we won't want to get the ltrace output. So this just gives us a root shell. So if you ask who am I now, we're now the root user, which means we can do this.
What are you? I'm system root.
Okay, so now we're the root user. All we need to do now is to get our flags. So typically, flags on the EchoCTF exercises, they're going to be in the home directory. So if we go into the home directory, we've got our ETSCTF user, and there's usually a flag in there. Let's move into the directory. Okay, and this is one of the flags. So the other flag is going to be inside of the root directory, which we have access to now that we're the root user. And this is the other flag. I'm pretty sure there are only 2 flags on this exercise. Let me double check. Okay, so there's only 2 flags. There's a user flag and a root flag. All right, everybody. So this was a guided walkthrough for the Rudcov exercise over at the, what is it called? Over at the BRCTF Machines Network over on EchoCTF.org. Oh, sorry, EchoCTF.red. If you enjoyed this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs, out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.